Hey there, I'm Lance and I'm a gamer.
And I'm Sam and I'm a non-gamer.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to help gamers find great games to play with non-gamers.
And today we're taking a look at Space and the Mysteries of Terra Proxima by AEG.
You're probably familiar with 2018's big hit Space from AEG, in which you were commanding a fleet of starships that you were going to put in a number or in a row between 1 and 12, rolling the dice, trying to hit certain numbers to get yourself coins and points, ultimately getting to 40 points before all of your opponents. And the unique thing about that game is that you not only got stuff when you rolled the dice, but when everybody rolled the dice. So it's a really interesting game, and there's been other spin-offs that have been very similar to it, Machi Koro or My Farm Shop are some big ones that come to mind. And they've come out with several different expansions. Well, this is the newest one, the Mysteries of Terra Proxima. And this is going to be a campaign, story narrative type experience in which you are going to play through several different missions, and a story is going to be told to you, and it's going to unfold with each individual playthrough of the game. A little bit more is going to get added. We'll show you a little bit of the contents for it down below. We're not going to spoil too much for you. We'll try to keep all the spoilers away in this video, but we are going to share our thoughts on the full experience. So we'll come back and do that after we talk about it a little bit down below and let you know what our thoughts are on it from a gamer and non-gamer's experience. All right, here's Space, an intergalactic dice game of fleet management on the table. Now, in this portion of the video, I am not going to explain how Space plays, and if you want to check that out, you can check out one of the other how to play videos on Space. There's plenty of them out there on YouTube, so just check out one of those. In this portion of the video, I am going to show you what is new with the Mysteries of Terra Proxima expansion, and I'm going to try to do so without spoiling too much. Now, I will have to spoil a few things, so if you'd rather not have anything spoiled, then go ahead and skip on past this portion of the video. With that being said, let me go ahead and show you what I have here out on the table. Now, most of this is going to look very similar to you if you are familiar with the base game of Space. But right off the bat, one of the changes are that the decks for the market cards, levels 1, 2, and 3, are going to be kept on the right side of the playing surface instead of the left side. And the reason for that is because you have the ship tokens here now. And that's a new addition as well. On your turn, instead of just rolling the 2 basic dice that you would roll every turn, you're also going to roll the ship die. And this ship die has a ship icon on it, and that ship icon, if it comes up, you are going to add a ship token to the first card here, like so. And that is going to be there until someone purchases this card. Now, if nobody takes that token, then the next one would go on the next card like this, and then a third one would go on the first row like that. And after you filled up this column, you would start at the bottom again, starting to fill up the second column, and so on and so forth. And when somebody purchases a ship, wherever it's at in the market, you're going to slide the cards over from the right. And what you're doing with these ship tokens when you purchase a card with one on them, then you take that ship token and you can exchange it for one of these Shy Pluto mining station dice. And you can see how many ship tokens it costs to buy each of these dice. But for instance, if I wanted to buy this one here, I would exchange 3 ship tokens in exchange for this die. And I would roll this die every turn as well as all of the other dice. And if this comes up, then I get 2 points. You can see what some of the other dice award. After you purchase one, then they're going to slide over like such, and you will draw a new die from the bag, filling in this furthest right spot. So you have a whole lot of new dice in this game. Not only that, you also have some bonus dice. Now, these bonus dice you're going to get as you unlock new cards, new abilities, and they're going to give you the opportunity to roll more dice on your turn. And when you do earn these dice, then you are the only player that's going to gain the benefits from the numbers that pop up. None of the other players will gain benefits like they do from the regular dice that are rolled every turn. So what are you doing in this game that's very different than the base game? Well, that's mostly going to happen as a result of this story deck. Now, I'm not going to show you too much of what's in here, as it is very spoilerific if I were to show you everything, but you're going to read some text, and then it will tell you to unlock certain discovery cards, and there'll be certain rule changes for how you play a game. And that discovery card deck is a new addition as well. So you're going to have a lot of cards here, and you can see just how many there are that are going to be dealt out to you. You can see in this first one that you are going to deal out cards 1 through 16. Now, how this is done, you deal out as evenly as possible to the players at the table. So if there were 4 players and then you had 16 cards, everybody would get 4 cards. But if you didn't have 4 players and it left you with an uneven amount there left in the middle, then you are just going to leave those cards in the middle, and it's going to create a secondary market. You're going to have the base market out here, you're going to have cards dealt to you in hand, and then you're going to have a side market. Now, how this works is you are going to be able to play or buy the cards that are in your hand, paying 1 coin less than what you see on the card. So this card here that says 4, you are going to be able to pay only 3 for that card. You're not going to get that discount for these cards that are out here in the market. You do get it for the cards that are in the side market, though. So that's going to help you be able to get cards into your fleet a lot quicker than you would in the base game. So that's another big change that you have with this game, with this expansion, excuse me. Now, a lot of the extra cards do come with extra player abilities, such as getting those bonus dice and charged cubes put on them. Lots of good stuff there. Another addition is you're going to have new colonies. And so these are going to be unlocked throughout the course of the game. You're going to have new colonies that have new abilities on them. You're not familiar with the orange spots on here. The orange spots are going to be consistent bonuses throughout the course of the entire game. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not so good, such as this one. This is that if any player has more than 40 at the end of each round, all players are reset with to 39, and then you have to discard this card. So it basically gives there to be one more round more than likely, so that the game doesn't end immediately at 40. Anyhow, these are going to replace some of the colonies that you see in the base game, and you will have a good time playing with those new colonies. You do have this mystery box over here. Now, I'm not going to show you what's in this mystery box because there's a whole bunch of stuff in here. And as it is, it would be pretty spoilerific for me to show you what's in it. Just know that there are more dice, more cubes, lots of good stuff in there. This story deck does change up things drastically depending upon which mission you're playing through. It starts off pretty light and easy breezy, pretty similar to the base game, but as things progress, you're going to be adding more and more stuff to the game, changing it up as you go. That's what you have here with Space-Based Terra Proxima, all the different additions to the base game. Let's go back up top, and we're going to share our thoughts on not only the Mysteries of Terra Proxima, but also on Space-Based, the base game. All right, we're back, and now we're going to share our thoughts on Space-Based, the Mysteries of Terra Proxima from a gamer and non-gamer's perspective. So real quick, Sam, we've not ever reviewed Space-Based before, and so I want to get your quick thoughts on just the base game of Space-Based. What do you think of it?
It's a game that surprises me every single time, because every time when it's put out, I don't want to play it. It's a lot of cards. It's a lot. It seems overwhelming when you see 0 to 40 and how slowly that moves. But then you start getting the cards, and then you start moving quickly, and then you start, and every time it sucks me in, every single time. So it's just one of those games that I forget that I like it every time. And for me, it is a game that I'll agree with you, Sam. You see that 0 to 40, and it starts off really slow. And so much so that I'm kind of with you. It's like, do I really want to get this out? Because do I really want to get through that first portion of the game where it's just, it feels such a slog to get to your engine moving? It does help, I think, that you're getting something when you're rolling in when somebody else is. That, I think, if that was not the case, then this game would be drastically different. And I've said in other videos, such as My Farm Shop, we reviewed that not too long ago, that I actually favored My Farm Shop more than Space-Based, simply because this game feels so slow, and I didn't feel that way about My Farm Shop. And so I don't
I'm not as high on this as maybe I am other games out there that are similar to it. I know that's not the common thought when it comes to Space Base. It's kind of thought as the classic that rules all of them in this genre of games. But here we have the Mysteries of Terra Proxima. And normally we don't just do review videos on expansions, but this is such a unique expansion, as was the Shy Pluto expansion, that it tells a story, it unpacks a lot of new game elements, and it shows it to you through several different playthroughs. Sam, what was your feelings after experiencing? We haven't played all the way through it, but we've played everything except 2 missions, I think. So what's been your go-through with this experience with Mysteries of Terra Proxima?
I don't personally care about the narrative at all, about the story, and that goes for any game. That's just not something that is important to me, and so I can't really say much about that. I will say that each one did add something pretty unique. Sometimes it felt a little overwhelming, like they're adding, because it's already lots of cards and dice and everything.
There's a lot of
like
stuff,
that.
yeah.
But I did feel in most cases that the things that were added really added to the game, and it made it more exciting. And nothing I felt like made it too much more difficult.
Do you feel like this solves any of the problems that you might have with the base game?
I mean, I think in some cases it does make it go a little bit quicker because of the additions that you're having, the extra dice that you're rolling.
Right.
So maybe it's still a game no matter what, that you look at that 0 to 40 and that blue die just moves so slowly at first, but then I did feel that it really caught up maybe quicker than with the base game.
Yeah, I definitely feel that there are some mechanics and some components in this new expansion specifically, and I'm trying not to spoil too much, the ship tokens that you're going to be putting out on the cards in the market. Because when you get enough of those, you can buy extra dice that'll either give you extra points, actually moving your rocket ship to that 40-point limit. Maybe it gives you more coins. Maybe it increases your green cube. I can't ever remember what that's called. But there's ways to kind of speed things up, especially that first part of the game. And so I do feel like this is a really good addition to solve some of the issues that I have with the base game, to just make it an all-around better experience. And so because of that, I don't know that I'd ever want to play just Space Base. I think I will almost always want to play it with some of the elements that are found in the Mysteries of Terra Proxima box. I do really enjoy also the plutonium dice that you have. You have that in the Shy Plutonium expansion as well, but you really get to experience it in this as well. So I really enjoyed that element too. Just rolling more dice is a fun experience.
Yeah.
You mentioned, Sam, the white bonus dice that you get to do in this game. I think that's cool. You had a couple of turns in our playthroughs where you were just getting bonus dice after bonus dice after bonus dice.
We did realize it.
We played something a little bit wrong,
We were doing it wrong.
but she was still getting really a lot of good hits, and it was comboing into more and more stuff.
Which is, I think it's important. You can't always make it work that way for a non-gamer. You don't obviously want to push a game for somebody to win, but it made me feel like I was doing it well.
Now, all in all, I do still feel like Space Base is maybe a game that is probably a tad bit more advanced than the typical game that we feature on Love to Hate.
Yeah.
And generally we're looking for games that work well with people who maybe have never played any modern day board games, or they're just not really gamers. And so I think Space Base is still a bit more advanced because the rule book is quite lengthy. It is a bit of a read to get through.
If you're a non-gamer trying to play something like this on your own, like I don't read rules. I let Lance explain it to me.
Well, and then you throw in this expansion, and it's not as though it's going to make the game more simplified and easier to get through.
Yeah.
So if you don't know that Space Base is going to be the game that works for you playing with a non-gamer or a casual gamer, then Mysteries of Terra Proxima is not going to necessarily help out with that at all. But if you know that Space Base does work for you, and it does work for that person that's not such a heavy gamer, then this might be a good addition for you to throw in there too, because it definitely has some new exciting elements that spice things up. And I really enjoyed it. So much so that I'm willing to, get Space Base back to the table again. I'd kind of given up on it, quite honestly, because it is such a hard game to get through that first half of the game.
Yeah.
And I like what this adds to it. It makes me, it kind of relivens the experience for me. So I really do like that. All right, let's get to pros and cons real quick. Sam, what are the things that you really enjoy about Space Base and the new Mysteries of Terra Proxima?
I really feel like my pros and cons can be like the first part of the game and the second part of the game.
Yeah.
My cons are the first part of the game where it just takes a long time to kind of get moving. My pros are the second half of the game where you really have those cards, so you're benefiting from the roles that your opponents are playing. You're getting a lot, you're getting points, you're getting money every time you're rolling. That's really enjoyable. So I think you just have to do the work to make it enjoyable.
Yeah, I'll
and
agree
not
with
that
that.
the beginning isn't, it's just a slow moving game, and I think that can be very frustrating for non-gamers.
Okay. One of the things I'll throw out there about this concept, you're getting something a lot, is that it causes you to be invested. It causes you to pay attention. It causes you to make sure you're witnessing what's happening. And that can be a good thing because it really kind of keeps people engaged in the game and feel like, well, just because my turn's over doesn't mean I'm not doing anything. You are doing something, and that's a good experience.
Yeah.
On the flip side of that, it can be a con too from a gamer's perspective, because you will likely find, if you're playing with casual or non-gamers, that maybe they aren't so observant of what they're supposed to be looking at on other people's turns. So it can very much happen that I roll an 11 and this non-gamer over here isn't paying attention to the fact that they just hit their 11, which might get them a ton of stuff. And you might want to be observant and point that out to them a time or two and say, hey, you just hit that one. You might want to collect on that. Or, you could split that up and get the 5 and the 6 if you want. You just kind of have to kind of guide them along a little bit with this.
Yeah.
Any other cons or any other pros for you?
I mean, there's definitely with some of the chapters.
Okay. Yep. Missions
that we played. You're having to cover up. The last one we played, you're having to cover up different numbers, and that was really hard for me because I was covering up ones that other cards would initiate, and so then I couldn't use those, and so really it took 2 cards out of the running, and so it's a deeper thinking game sometimes with these components added. Yeah,
for sure. This expansion here is going to give you such unique gameplay experiences between the different chapters. Which the one she's talking about there is you're having certain sections on your board off limits to you.
Yeah.
And so you're working with a smaller number range.
And you get to choose which ones they are,
Sure.
but you have to have that thought process available to what numbers am I not seeing as much, which numbers don't give me as much.
Right.
So
there's interesting choices to make there, but you may not like that experience. And the good thing about this, I think it's a pro, is that you don't have to play that mission over and over and over again. You can replay the missions in this. I think we should say that. It's not a one and done type experience. You can replay the whole thing, or you can play one mission over and over and over again if you want to. But yeah, you can go to other missions that work for you. I do really enjoy some of the more earlier on missions. Not that I don't enjoy the later missions as well. It's just like Sam was saying, you might not enjoy that. You can stick with the third mission if you wanted to.
Yeah.
So, all right, scale of 1 to 10, love to hate. We're going to give 2 different scores here. We're going to give our score for just Space Base and our score for Terra Proxima. I'm going to go first. And my score for Space Base, I think for me, just the base game experience is about a 6.9, just right there, a tad below the 7 range. And for me, 7s are games that I will generally keep in my collection. You ask me if you want to play it, I'll get it out anytime, and we'll sit down and we'll have a good time. So this is just below that in the sense that, yeah, I'll play it. I don't know that I want to keep it in my collection. If you have it and you want to play it, sure, I'll play it with you. That's my feelings on just the base game of Space Base. Terra Mystica is
Terra Proxima.
Terra Mystica is a different game. Mysteries of Terra Proxima adds a whole lot to that experience, and it's going to drive my score up quite a bit. I really do enjoy this added into it. I am going to say that my score for this one is a 7.8. I really enjoyed this, and it really has made me want to get this back out on the table some more, to play some more. So, your thoughts just on Space Base?
I'm probably opposite, just from a non-gamer perspective. The base version isn't as complicated. I think
sure. I
this
get
is
that.
kind of where my "am I a gamer" question is going to come in, because I've played enough games that I understand expansions a little bit more. I've played this game quite a few times, that I can appreciate the expansion. But if we're just going from like first time, only played this once, non-gamer, I think this is a better one for a non-gamer. And
Sure, I would agree with that.
I mean, I'd probably give it a 7.2.
Okay.
And then with this just being more complicated, adding more to it, I enjoyed it, but I really feel like that's my gamer tendencies. I've played so many games. I think as a non-gamer, someone, if you're not really into games, this is going to be lower, and I'd probably give it about a 6.5.
Okay. Fair enough. I think that's an understandable score range for both of these games. So, well, there you have it. That's our thoughts on Space and the new expansion, The Mysteries of Terra Proxima. They are both from AEG. Please leave some comments down below. Let us know what you think of this game.
Make sure to like and subscribe and push that bell button so you get notifications of all our new content.
I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.